Good morning. Well, I'm doing this in response to the poll that I created, but with all that's going on in LA and surrounding areas, I've been somewhat busy keeping up with that and consistently checking in on family and friends, and there's a ton of them, and they don't just live in LA proper, but they live in the canyons. They live in Encino. They live just all over Ventura County. So every time the fire moves to another situation, I get in touch with someone and check on them, or someone calls in and checks in with me. So I've been a little busy, and I didn't want to come on here and half do this for you. But let me get started. First of all, you know that um, prison labor is essentially free, and I put that in quotes, you know, quote, free labor, end quote, free labor. And many may not know, but the U.S. Constitution exempts prisoners from involuntary servitude. The 13th Amendment, Section 1, prohibits involuntary servitude except as punishment for a crime. So there's that. Now, prison labor nationwide in America produces $11 billion worth of goods and services each year. But the prisoners themselves earn anywhere from 10 cents to 52 cents per hour, the cap being $2. Think about that. But they're, you know, producing. And Arizona, for example, has they earn a lot of money from prisoner working. So does California. And in some cases, the Department of Corrections, the state, the public defender, all these people, they get as much as $50,000 per year from the federal government per capita for prisoners. So they're rewarded, which may be explaining why so many people have been exonerated when they got railroaded. And it's a motivation to convict, not to seek justice. In California, they use them to fight wildfires. And I know a couple of people, one is a relative in California, who fought those fires over the years while they were incarcerated. They fought the fires, and then when they got out, they thought they'd be able, because of their experience, to get employment as a firefighter. But oh no, they are denied employment with the fire department. And guess why? Because they're a convicted felon. But weren't they a convicted felon when they were serving out a sentence and helping the firefighters fight the fires? That doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? So to me, they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. They get firefighters, incarcerated firefighters, to help them fight the fires. But when they get out, they're not good enough. And only because they have a felony on their record. So I'm seeing that as hypocritical, unfair, and an injustice, because while they're fighting the fire, no one tells them, yeah, you can help us, but you can't get a job doing this when you get out. And one of my relatives, experienced that. And he was crushed and thinking about all the times, all the work he did fighting those fires for, I think it was 3 years in California. They would bus them to whatever fire, and they would be standing side by side with the firefighters, risking their lives. But they weren't good. They're not good enough when they get out to work for them. And I think that is the major injustice, including how little they get paid, because commissary supplies and food, it costs the same as it does in the store for you and I, sometimes a little more. And yet they get paid so little for anything that they do, anything whatsoever. And they get disciplined if they if they won't work. They get punished. So I thought that looking at these fires, knowing that there are prisoners fighting the fires with them, and knowing that they're not getting paid any money, I mean, very little money, I won't say not any, get paid little money, but then once they're done, and you got to think, if you've got experience fighting a fire, you've got more experience than the people who are actually applying for the first time to get the job. And you would think that they would weigh that and give those people a chance. And how many people are they turning away from fighting fires? They didn't have enough for this. They had to get people flown in from all over. How many people did they turn away that would be working for them right now because they had a felony on their record? And a felony is not always murder or something like that. It could be stealing, but some people get a felony for, which is what happened to my relative, for a parole violation or probation violation or something like that. And the felony, they violated their probation, and so then they had to go to prison, and that's how they became involved in fighting the fires. So I think it's really unfair, and this didn't just start. This began after the Civil War, because it was after that time that they found another way to do slavery. So they would arrest people, and you can go to the, I think it's called the FREEDMENS page. It goes back into the 1800s, where people were actually given 10 years for post-Civil War for stealing corn, stealing corn. And because they had nothing to eat, because a lot of the slaves who were freed did not have work and did not want to, or had not migrated to the North at that time. And things were tight for everyone. And so they would get these huge sentences. And I saw them. It's called the Freedmen's Bureau, yeah. And I saw all of those sentences that they received. And basically, that's when they began. And this is about 1865, 1866, and going forward, leasing out those prisoners at that time. They leased them out, and they've been leasing them out ever since to do work for other people, to work for the local government. Right now, you have people that do janitorial work, prisoners in certain state buildings. And this is something that really needs to be changed, because even though the Constitution says they're exempt, it still has been taken advantage of to the degree that they're still being, it's another form of slavery, really. And if you don't do it, or you don't do something, you get penalized and you get punished, and privileges taken away from you. So my concern is that the wholesale warehousing of, and I will say Black people more than anyone else, because even though we are supposed to be the minority in this country, when you go to each prison, state by state, county by county, the number of Black inmates does not match the percentage of people in that county or in that state. It's always higher than the others. So when they do this warehousing, it is apparently to obtain labor and get rewarded by the federal government. So when you have, again, those people out there fighting fires, putting their life at risk, something's got to change about that. They should automatically be entitled to getting employment in that field if they have experience, ahead of other people who don't have any experience. It's another way to shut the door in your face, slap you in the face, or whatever. And I think it's totally not just inappropriate, would be light. It is inhumane, it is unfair, it is unjust, it is all of that. And a change needs to be made. And the other issue that you all wanted me to discuss was if you have a felony, you can't vote. What is perplexing at this point, we have a president-elect who is a convicted felon, and he was a convicted felon while he was running for office. But the people who can't vote for him, who had felonies, they're tossed out of the process totally. But yet someone can run for that high office, and these people can't say yay or nay. But he is in the same boat with them. And my view is that I always thought, and I can't say I read it anywhere, I knew you had to be a citizen, you had to be 35 years old, and I assumed that to be the president leading this country, you had to have a clean record. And that's why a lot of people wouldn't run for that office, because they didn't have a clean record. And here we have a convicted felon in the White House, going to the White House, and basically saying, hey, yeah, he's a convicted felon, but we're going to swear him in. But you won't let these people be sworn in to vote, to register to vote. Now, that's like an oxymoron. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. If he can be president, then they need to wipe that law out about convicted felons, because the two don't go hand in hand, not at all. And so that's basically, what I wanted to say about it. I wanted to bring that to your attention, and how unfair it is. And it's something that we should all be aware of. And what about the people, again, who are exonerated later? Okay. They're in there all that time, for serving that time, and they're fighting fires, they're doing other things, and they come out. I'm wondering, and I haven't found any of this so far, if they get exonerated, do they get a chance to, um, you know, apply for that job? Now, a lot of the people who have gotten exonerated, unfortunately, had to spend 15 to 20 to 30 years in prison before they got exonerated. So they would no longer be of age, but maybe they should be getting some kind of pension for the firefighting they did, for the work that they did do. That's the way I see it. And you can let me know if you agree or if you disagree in the comments. And you guys have a great rest of your day.